Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And in this one, I wanted to speak to you about cycle tracking. I've been doing a couple of videos on this in the past. I have done a couple of videos on this in the past, about our periods, about menstrual cycles, about how tracking your cycle or realizing, which phase of your cycle you're in is so beneficial to being a female or being a woman in this world, or being a person who identifies as female, either one, whoever you are listening to this. And it's so important to track your cycles because all of a sudden, all of these mood fluctuations or energy fluctuations or fluctuations in general that you experience throughout your cycle, all of a sudden they're explainable. They're not something that happens randomly to you. You're not this random crazy human being, which is what it feels like sometimes when you don't know about these cycle tracking things. Before I started tracking my cycle, I believed that I had no control over my moods. I used to think that I am this kind of person who literally changes from one day to the next because she has no control over what's going on in her body or her mind or her soul or spirit. And literally, as a female, because of all the changes in our cycle, which happen almost on a daily basis, because every day the hormones in your bodies are changing, fluctuating, they are increasing or decreasing or are flat or things like that. And so all of this interplay between the 4, 5, 6 different hormones that control all of your reproductive systems and other systems in your body, all of the different hormones, the hundreds of hormones that you have in your body that are interacting with each other, all of that causes you to change on almost a daily basis. One day you wake up and you're really energetic and you're just gung-ho to go for all of your goals and you want to work so hard and you want to get everything done. The second day you wake up or the next day you wake up, you have very little energy and you just don't want to do anything and you just want to lie in bed all day long and you just want to sleep, right? And so before I started tracking my cycle, and I've told you guys about the books that I've read to figure out how to track the cycle. The main one was Period Power by Maisie Hill, and I'll link her below so you can go check out her book. But before I did, and as I said, I'm almost 37 right now, and this is the first time in my 37 years of being alive that I have ever looked into the subject matter. And that in itself is, I don't know, it's a little bit weird to me when I think about it, because I've looked at every other part of my life. I've looked into neurochemistry. I've been searching and studying about neurochemistry or brain cells for ages, decades now, like a lot of time. I've been reading about nutrition and health and other matters in so many different ways all the time. I'm always reading about that stuff. I'm always reading about meditation. I'm always reading about foods. I'm always reading about all of these other things related to my body. But I've never, ever thought, okay, yeah, you know what? There's this thing going on in my body that happens every month that I go through that I have no idea what happens with it. I have no idea what it's all about. I've never looked into it. I've never even thought that, right, yeah, let's look into that. Let's do some research about it and see what exactly is going on down there. What happens every month, so that I'm going through all of these mood fluctuations, these mood swings, these random pop-up acne and all that random thing that happens to me. And I'm like, I have no idea. I never even thought to look into it before this month, before the last couple of months that I've been looking into it. And so I really wanted to share this with you. And the reason I'm doing a few videos on this subject matter is because I'm hoping that'll kind of prod or poke at all of the women that are listening to this video and will implore them or encourage them to start tracking their own cycles. It literally has been a game changer for the way I live my life, the way I look at my body, the way I look at my femininity, the way I look at my female power, the way I look at my cycle in general. I mean, previously, as I said, I ignored it. I pretended like it didn't exist. I would be surprised when it showed up all of a sudden every month. I'd be like, oh my God, I have my period again? What the hell? Or I'd get angry at it, or I would be upset by it. I'd be like, I hate being a woman. I wish I was a man. I wish I didn't have these ovaries. I'd put all of this negative energy into it. I would just despise it. I hated all of the different parts of me that were female because of all the different things that were happening. And so nothing positive ever happened in regards to my cycle and my femininity. And this, as I said, has been some complete game changer, because all of a sudden, just by tracking my cycle, just by figuring out, okay, so which phase am I in? I'm in the luteal phase. Okay, the luteal phase is the autumn of the cycle, which means you're in low energy, you have less motivation to do a lot of different things. You just want to rest a lot, you want to recuperate, you want to rejuvenate, you want to powder about the house, you don't want to be very social, things like that. And so if I know that I'm in my cycle, in that particular part of my cycle, I know that if I feel low energy, it's not because I'm lazy, it's not because I am a good for nothing, it's not because I'm unworthy, it's not because of all those things, which is usually what I would think. It's because I'm in that part of my cycle. And hormones, believe it or not, have a lot to do with, actually they have all to do with everything that's happening in your body. Everything in your body is related to your hormones. Everything that's happening, all the fluctuations, all the madness, all the craziness, all the ups and downs, the ins and outs, everything is related to hormones. I am absolutely baffled and boggled by the fact that they don't teach this stuff to us in school. Literally 50% of the population in the world, 50% of the population is women, maybe more, and none of this information is taught in schools. I literally think that cycle tracking should be a mandatory course for all women in high school. At least as soon as they get their period, they should know, how am I supposed to track my cycle? If I ever have a child, and if she's female, this is going to be one of those mandatory things that I teach her, after how to fight against patriarchy and all that stuff. But cycle tracking is going to be one of those things that I literally want every female on this planet to do. There's so many amazing women who are writing all these amazing books about cycle tracking, about our cycle, about our periods, about menstruation, about menopause, about perimenopause, all of this stuff that I had no idea existed. All these brilliant books are out there. I'm going to share 2 or 3 down in the description below, so hopefully you can go start tracking your cycle. Read up on it, start tracking your cycle. That's basically the essence of this video, is that if you want to really start coming into your own and really believing in your femininity, really accepting your femaleness, because that's something, as I've said, a lot of women have a problem with. Constantly, not only are we told by society, but we're told by our parents, we're told by our partner, we're told by our boss or our work, we're told by everyone and everything in the world that being a woman is a weakness. It's a negative thing. It's actually a crutch. It's a handicap. And in a lot of different ways, we try not to be female. We try to run away from our cycle. We try to run away from our femininity, which is basically our cycle. And we try to be more masculine about it, right? So if we have a feminine quality, if we have a little bit of softness to us, we try to run away from that softness and we try to move towards more hard things and more masculinity. If we have anything that's more feminine, I've noticed in myself that I'll try to push it down. I'll try not to be more feminine. I'll try to be more masculine. I'll try to, be power through things. I'll try to ignore my cycle. I'll be like, oh, it doesn't exist. I'm just the same as a man. In a lot of ways, yes, we are. And I'm not saying that the equality movement is completely bogus, but there are a lot of positive things about it being a woman that we don't need to ignore anymore. We don't need to push it away. We just need to learn that it's our power. And if we run away from it, we're kind of really just playing into the patriarchy's ideas and saying, yeah, I'm just going to pretend like I'm a man in a female's body, in a woman's body, which is not what I want to do. I want to be a woman in a woman's body and accept all of it, whatever it comes with, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? A lot of good there, but we ignore it because we assume and we're told constantly that being a woman is a bad thing. Being a woman is a handicap. Being a woman is a weakness. It's better to be a man. I know so many women who actually are jealous of the men in their lives because they're like, well, men have it so easy and women have it so hard, right? And so instead of being like, all right, cool, yeah, it's a little bit unequal right now. There's a lot of inequality going on in the world. But what can I do to really come into my power and really use who I am as a powerful thing and as a message to move through the world in a more feminine way and in a more powerful way, right? And so I really want, if possible, for all of you, please, to look into these books and to really seriously start tracking your cycle, to really understand what is going on with my body, what's going on with all of these things that happen on a monthly basis. I calculated last time, actually one of our viewers calculated for me, that I've been through 312 of these cycles already. 312. And I have tracked 0 of them. I just started tracking them this last month. 312 cycles that I went through that I had no idea what was going on in my body. Something randomly would happen. I'm like, oh, right, okay, I have no idea. It must be because I'm a woman. I hate being a woman. And that was usually the conclusion that I drew from everything that happened in my cycle. You know, something would happen, like, this is so annoying. Why do I have to have these ovaries? And why do I have to have this thing? I could be a man. It'd be so much easier. Men have cycles, by the way, as well. They don't kind of conjugate, or they don't go along with the moon, obviously, so it's a little bit less visible, but they have cycles too, and they kind of go along with the sun, but is not as pervasive as a woman's cycle. Obviously, a woman's cycle is much more pervasive in our life. It takes control of a lot of different things as opposed to a man's cycle. So I'm not saying that women are the only ones who have cycles, but our cycles are more important to us because a lot of things in our lives are dictated by our cycles. So last time I'm going to say this, if you have any questions, obviously do message me or comment below, but please do go read these books, especially if you're a person who identifies as a woman, and go check out these videos, the other videos that I've done, and go start tracking your cycle. Seriously, like, this is really seriously the only thing I'm going to say in this video that I've said over and over again, but please do it. It's really important. It's extremely, extremely important that you start doing that. Again, if questions, please comment below. Otherwise, I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.